and welcome back to the homestead. If you're new to our channel, I'm Carrie, and in today's video my oldest daughter Esther and I are going to give you a full late spring garden tour. But first I wanted to give you a quick update on our musklings on the homestead. Look at all these musklings! Looks like we have all of them in one spot, which doesn't normally happen. 58, all 58 of them. You guys are growing up fast. And there's also 7 regular duck babies. They like to sneak out into the pasture on their own. The mamas can't get through this fencing, but the babies can, so they sneak out and catch some bugs on the pasture and thankfully always come back to their mamas. They're so cute. We are so thankful and blessed to have so much new life on the homestead. It's been just a joy to watch all those musklings all over. They love to go over the pasture and up and down the driveway. They're just so much fun to watch. Before we start this garden tour, I will say that we're in Zone 6B and we live in the Missouri Ozarks. It's a very unique climate here, and so it's been quite the learning curve. We've been gardening here for almost 10 years and had pretty much no experience before getting here. And so if you're new to gardening, I want to just encourage you that it's a journey, and it's a joyful journey. We started really small with just a few beds, and where we're at right now is really only about halfway toward our big picture plan for our family of 9. So it's a journey. Every single year we're learning and we're establishing new spaces. I just feel so incredibly blessed to have this space. Every year I am more and more thankful to our Heavenly Father for blessing us with this land to work. So if you're new to our channel, we actually have 3 main garden spaces. We have our kitchen garden, which I'm in right now, and that's close to our house. It's mostly the east side of our house, and then we're working our way back into the backyard as well. Then we have a front garden just across the driveway from our house and right on the edge of our pasture that we have handed over to the ducks temporarily, because the area that we did have for our ducks, they were getting attacked by predators, so they're there for now. So this year we're actually having to plug a lot of things into our kitchen garden that we don't normally grow in this space because we don't have our front garden space this year. And then the third area that we have is what we call our main crop area, and it's across the driveway to the west side of our house, and it's a work in progress. We're just making do with what we have there this year. So we put in a temporary rock wall raised bed for some raspberries and garlic, and those are doing well. Across from the children's play area, we lined the edge there with some grow beds that we grow our sweet potatoes in. So we've got some Murasaki sweet potatoes, as well as Beauregard or Beauregard sweet potatoes planted there. And then over by the new greenhouse area, Esther really wanted to put in a bed for tomatoes. We've got a lot of extra tomato plants this year with no space to put them, and so she made a little tomato bed there. And then we had an old pile of composted horse manure just sitting there, so we ended up planting some potatoes in the mound, and those are doing pretty good. And then we needed more room for sweet potatoes because we were gifted sweet potatoes this year, which was a huge blessing, but we had way more sweet potato slips than we had space for. So we just made a quick temporary bed out of cut off cants from the mill, and we've got some purple sweet potatoes planted there. And then behind that bed is our swale. We call it our duck swale. We've got some chestnuts and pawpaw trees planted, as well as a bunch of perennials. Right now the lamb's ear is in bloom. It's really beautiful there. Alright, so coming back to our kitchen garden, just off the patio we have a new Vegeta grow bed. If you missed that video, check it out. Check out the link below for 10% off Vegeta grow beds using our affiliate link. That bed has just been so much fun. It's growing amazing greens. Right now we've got a combination of kale and lettuce in there, and it's really cool because the kale is kind of shading the lettuce and helping the lettuce to not bolt as fast, so it's kind of a good combination, and we've just really enjoyed that Vegeta grow bed. So if you're looking for a really high quality, long lasting grow bed, please check out the link below. And we've got some big pots to line the stairway going into our root cellar for safety, and in there we've got some peonies and a new variety of petunias called apple blossom that I just love. First little in-ground bed inside the patio area there. We've got some peas planted right now. Those have been fun to snack on. And now Esther's gonna help kind of walk us through the garden space. We're kind of gonna zigzag through. We're gonna go back to the back and see the girls' gardens, and then we'll come back over, kind of finish off coming around to the backyard here.
In this first annual bed, we kind of have a mixture of things. We have onions, potatoes, and kohlrabi that we're harvesting from. Next we come to our butterfly garden, and we have sweet william and queen rose salvia blooming.
And this is also where we have a lot of anise hyssop, and we harvest that for our cold pressed tea. There's also some burgundy glow ajuga right now that looks beautiful. Some other random flowers tucked in here as well. And the echinacea is just about to bloom.
Next we have another annual bed, and we have some beets and salad greens. So behind me in this bed we have a bunch of chocolate mint that's going crazy, a pixel of gooseberry, and a hardy citrus.
Yeah, and the hardy citrus is called a flying dragon trifoliate orange. And it actually has cute little fruits for the first time this year, huh? So we're gonna get to taste it. So next we have 6 long annual grow beds, and we put a lot of herbs and flowers on the end caps. So there's various things like oregano and daylilies. We'll show you each of those, and then there's food growing in the rest of the bed.
And this
Oh, the mosquitoes are getting you, huh?
In this first bed, we have oregano, daylilies, and 2 varieties of sweet potatoes.
Yep, we've got the Mayhan yams and Covington sweet potatoes that were gifted to us. Thank you again for the Covington sweet potatoes.
In the second bed, we have some daylilies, plumosa salvia, and some things we got from neighbors, and our second batch of potatoes.
Yep, second planting, so hopefully those potatoes will be ready later and will be good storage potatoes for us.
In the third bed here, we have more oregano, more daylilies, twizzle coral, penstemon, some kale, and onions and carrots down at the end.
Yeah, the kale, we're letting it go to seed, so hopefully we can save seed from it. And also the pollinators really like the kale blossoms, so we've just been leaving little bits of kale for those purposes.
In the fourth bed, we have Caradon salvia and Crater Lake veronica. And then we have also more daylilies, and these ones are about to bloom. And they're our first harvest of potatoes.
Yeah, so we have 2 varieties of potatoes that are getting really close. There's a purple variety and just normal store-bought organic red potatoes.
The next 2 beds we keep covered to keep the bugs off. In this next one we have liacheous and drumstick alliums.
And another daylily back there too.
And then we have cauliflower, broccoli, and chard in this bed that's covered. In this last annual bed here, we have blue queen salvia, more daylilies, and some rosemary. And then we have cabbage and onions here.
And a noisy cow ready to be milked out in the pasture. Here I'm experimenting with growing our own mulch. So for tomatoes, it's good to have some kind of a mulch to protect the plants from getting the soil when you water, soil splashing up on the plants and causing disease on the leaves. We actually just had, right where our turkey feed is, some spilled grain that grew up, and it was wheat and oat grasses that grew up right where I put this tomato plant. So I chopped those down and put it around the base of the tomato plant, and I'm going to see how that does. I'm hoping to do that with all of our tomato plants in the future. So in the fall, I'll plant wheat or rye, and then late spring, early summer, when I'm ready to plant those tomatoes, I'll just chop down the grasses and then plant the tomatoes into that.
Now I'm under our double arch trellis, and we have all kinds of things growing under here. We have our last radish harvest, purple pole beans, sunflowers, cucumber, onions, and squash. And on this side we have bush beans, more squash, and a bunch of cucumbers on the other side.
And now we're back here at the girls' garden spaces. So I'm going to show you Abby's garden, and Biddle's garden, and Esther's garden. This is Abby's area. She has a bunch of chives. She has some little radishes hidden in there. Flowers, Johnny jump ups. She's got a huge echinacea about ready to bloom. A garlic. More flowers. Random onion. Do you like your little garden space?
Yeah.
It's growing, huh? It's gotten really full. Biddle's still in bed, but this is her garden row here, and she's got all sorts of things. There's some strawberries tucked in there. Got some garlic, some pretty flowers, all sorts of, mostly flowers. And back in the corner of the garden here, we come to Esther Pye's area, which is so beautiful right now. She's got lots of lovely things growing. Is there anything you want to share about your garden back here, sweetheart?
My peas are doing good.
Yeah, let's go take a look at your peas. Got some sedum.
Big little peas.
She's got some dahlias in there, echinacea, oregano. Okay, so these are your peas over here. She's got 2 peas, and these are what kind?
Drought-proof Wando.
Yep. You grew drought-proof Wando last year, and they did great, so you did it again, huh? Oh, your raspberry's doing good. She's a raspberry tucked in there. She has some Sweet William in bloom. Lots of Johnny jump ups. Absolutely beautiful hostas over here. You're doing a great job taking care of this corner of the garden. It's lovely. So back in here we also have a little sitting area. We've got new peach trees, so they're growing really well. And then got another little trellis back here where Esther's got some things growing. She's going to be planting some tomatoes, I think, right?
Yeah.
But she's also got some chard. And then on the other side of the trellis, I just planted some little cherry tomatoes. And then back in this far corner, we've got another peach tree that's barely new, but it's growing like crazy. Got some mums that are getting close to being ready to bloom, but not yet. And then in this very back we have a weedy jungle. The back of the garden always gets so weedy, but that's an asparagus bed back there where we just planted a bunch more asparagus this year.
Now we're going to move around to the side garden and backyard. Going around to the backyard, we have what we call circle gardens, which have mostly perennials. In the middle of this bed, we have a hardy hibiscus. It's not the kind you use for tea, but it's going to have big, beautiful flowers in the summer and fall.
Yeah, and then we've also got some fennel tucked behind it. Got our bleeding heart here that's not blooming anymore, but still beautiful. Back in here we have a robustissima anemone that will bloom in the late summer and fall. Russian sage, burgundy glow ajuga. Got a grandchild mum that's just about to bloom. And then just various other perennial flowers back here. Some geranium. Next we've got a rose of Sharon in the center of this area and mostly apple mint, but there's some echinacea. We've got a aster called Aroma that's not blooming yet, but that's going to have lavender blooms here soon. We've got a Moody Blues white Veronica tucked in there, some sedums, and on the back side it's got mountain mint and mist flower. In the next bed over here, we've got a patch of daylilies, lamb's ear that's starting to bloom. Got some geraniums tucked in there, some grasses, a peony that's done, catmint, and then directly under the tree, it's hard to see, but we've got some little hostas tucked in here. They're being swallowed up by the mist flower that I need to thin out. And then there's some bee balm back in there that's going to be a purple bee balm. Kind of walk around the corner over here. This is the turkey yard. Hey turkeys! Got an asparagus bed, but I've also got some tomatoes tucked in here. This echinacea, a patch of garlic. Just planted some more asparagus in here, so there's baby asparagus coming up. We planted our ginger over here. It's not coming up quite yet, but there's a little start there. Have some raspberries that have escaped the bed from having raspberries in here before, but it wasn't sunny enough, so we're going to move these out into the main crop area once we have a bed for them. And over here we've got some rhubarb, new rhubarb plants, and a patch where we just planted some more asparagus. And then all the flowers over here are Arctic fire dianthus. And when the sun comes out, they will open up, but they're a little shy right now. I'll just continue along this whole back edge here too while I'm at it. This is a red twig dogwood bush, some more raspberries that need to be transplanted into a sunny location, high bush cranberries, and then we've got a few annuals tucked in here. This is our moringa plants and roselle. This is an Annabelle hydrangea that's going to bloom for the first year. This looks like it's going to be gorgeous. This is our composting center back here. So now I'm going to go back the other way here. Doo-doo-doo. This is a redbud tree that we have here, and underneath we've got various perennials, different hostas that were gifted to us. Got a peach tree heucherella, some more geraniums. Oh, our first bloom of the phlox, Esther, look. This is a perennial phlox that we thought we lost, but it had little babies that we transplanted, and yay, our first perennial phlox bloom. There's some other dianthus in here. Oh, and another heucherella. This one's called Plum Cascade, and it had a baby, 2 babies I think. Oh, a bunch of babies. It's always fun when a perennial has babies, and then you get to share the love, give them away to friends, or spread more around the garden, huh? Okay, let's swing back around this way. Got a fun little sedum here called Lime Twister. Some alliums that are about done. And then this is a really fun new plant. It's a dappled willow bush. I've got another one over here, and they're just so fun. Lots of variegated colors. So we've got some other perennials down in here. This one's a bee one. I'll have to put the name up on the screen because it's supposed to have blooms for the bees, which I always love to have plants like that in the garden. This is an apple blossom dahlia, which I've wanted for years. I'm so excited about. So that's going to be fun. There's another bleeding heart back there. What else? We have some little peanuts tucked in here too that were given to us by a friend. So we'll see how those do.
This was supposed to be our herb bed. We need more space for annuals, so we put a bunch of squash in it.
Yep, so we've got some zucchini over here called Raven. And then we've got a early yellow straight neck over here and there. And then the last one is a butternut squash. So next we come to our backyard, and this is all new space this year. And so we've still got a lot of work to do back here. We're going to be putting a cobblestone sitting area there with a pergola for our rows. And it's mostly supposed to be perennials back here, but we did plug in a lot of annuals just because we needed the space. So we've got some melons going. Got some more melons over here. They're pretty small, but they'll grow. And we also put some marigolds in with the melons and some zinnias. Over here we've got a little bed of short stuffed sunflowers that are starting to come up. There's a lot of primrose around this bed here. In the middle is a serviceberry. Got a blueberry that's pretty small tucked in. There's another melon. Because we don't have our front garden space this year, we're just trying to tuck in annuals wherever we can in our kitchen garden. So it's quite disorganized, but I'm hoping that they're gonna do well back here, and maybe the chaos of it all will throw off the bugs a little bit. We'll see. Back here, Esther's got her dahlias all along the edge. Most of them have come up, but there's still a couple that have not. Little baby apricot tree there. We planted some annual flowers all along this edge, cosmos and celosia. Just planted another lemon balm, some yarrow, there's liatris. This is a spirea that we got from our neighbor that's had really pretty white blooms in the spring. Red twig dogwood. And then this other side mirrors that one with the red twig dogwood, the spirea. We also have a couple other things over here though. Got a couple 9-barks in here. That one's really beautiful. Planted some more flowers along here. Status and some of our self-seeded wild violet petunias. Got another little baby apricot tree in here. And then just like on the other side, we've got some primrose, twilight primrose around this one, another serviceberry. Unfortunately, it looks like we lost a gooseberry here, so I'm going to have to transplant something else into there. Little blueberry.
Behind me is the white garden.
Yeah, this is right off of our side yard and next to our big water tank tower. It's been a fun space, huh? Seeing all the different varieties of white flowers that we can fit in one little area.
Yeah.
White finch orlea. Sweet William, Penstemon, Virgin's Bower, and this is a bush called New Jersey Tea. It's going to have little white blooms as well. White sweet violets and white feathers hosta, but it's not that white right now. It's got a little bit. Right off our patio, I almost forget we have tomatoes growing here as well. We've got some parsley and little basil plants tucked in with the tomatoes. And we do use these cages still, sometimes for the shorter tomato plants, and then for the ones that get really tall, we use these strings. And we just wrap the string around the plant as it grows. And the strings are attached to our patio roof there. Okay, now I'm gonna have Esther reveal the highlight of all of our gardens right now. What's the highlight right now?
The rose.
Our new dawn rose. We are loving this. It's just been so much fun to come out here every morning and see all the new blooms. So this is a David Austin New Dawn rose. It's our only rose that we have. It's a little bit difficult to grow roses in the Missouri Ozarks, so you have to get varieties that are super hardy. This one is definitely looking like it's settling in nicely. And the smell is amazing. Real quick before we go, I would love to ask if you're an experienced gardener, say you've been gardening for 10 years or more, would you please take a moment to share in the comments below your best gardening tip for all of us? I think that would be really fun to have a bunch of experienced gardeners sharing in the comments below to help encourage all of us who love gardening or are thinking about getting into gardening. That would be really fun. So please share in the comments below. I feel like there's so much we missed. We kind of had to rush through that today, but we were trying to get the filming done before the sun came up and before I needed to get in and make breakfast. So thanks for joining us on the homestead again. As always, thank you to our patrons who make these videos possible. Until next time, we pray blessings over you and yours. And whatever you do, do it with your whole heart.